Okay, so we're going to cover Unit 7, which is volume, and these are volume of 5 different shapes. We're going to do 3 today, 2 tomorrow. This unit is for 1, it's part of the standards. 2, the people who have to take the final, you will not be taking like a final comprehensive exam. Instead, you will be taking a unit test on volume, and I will give you the formulas. So you just have to know how to find volume, okay? Those of you not taking the final, you still have to tune in because this worksheet is a daily grade, Easy 100. We got 14 practice problems, and you're going to see how fast this goes. So let me zoom in. 82, 83, 83, maybe. We'll check on that. The volume of the figure is moving. Hold on. She moved. Is the amount needed to fill it in. 83. This is 83, by the way. It's the amount needed to fill it in. So think of all of these solids as hollow, and you're walking by with a pitcher of water and you're pouring water into them. The volume would be how much water you end up pouring in so that it is full. Okay? We have 3 shapes here, but there are 2 categories of names for these pictures. Everybody knows this shape right here on the right. What is this? It's a sphere. It's actually labeled right there, but let's come right here and let's label sphere. If I had to say which shape is the easiest, some people could argue sphere is the easiest. And they would argue it's the easiest because it never changes. It's either a small sphere or a big sphere. There's never like a lopsided sphere, because then that's not a sphere, right? The formula for the volume of a sphere is right here. If you want to write it bigger, you can. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. Pi is in there because we do have a circle. Circle shapes always involve pi. Now, while the volume formula may look complicated, the only way that a sphere question might be tricky is if they give you the diameter instead of the radius. So what you may want to do in this picture, it's up to you, if you can, maybe draw the rest of that segment, put a circle there, and then come over here and say, okay, that is the diameter, and then just from here to here is the radius. From here to here is the radius. So what do you think is the relationship between the diameter and the radius? Like, what type of ratio do they have in terms of size? If a diameter is 10, then the radius would be 5. So it's either double or half, depending on the direction you're going, right? It's kind of like a snow day, if you think about it that way. Remember right here, I want you to make a note. Note, radius is half diameter. So if you ever have a question where they're giving you the diameter, you need to find the radius before you proceed with the formula. That would be the only trick involved. And then I want to give you one more little note or helpful tip, and that is how to type it in the calculator. Paying attention? All right, so put right here, calc. Here's how you type it in. copy this down, then we'll go to one of the problems, and then we'll actually do it on our calculator so you know how to do it. You're going to type in your calculator 4 divide 3 second pi, whatever r is, caret 3. And when I say caret, I mean it's the button that bumps anything after it up to exponent's position. It's called a caret button. So let me show you. Yes, it is under clear. Let me move this. I'm trying to move this. So write that down. Okay, I've got my calculator up. Can you tell me which question is the first sphere?
3.
Don't you love this?
1. 3 pi.
All right, I want you to label it right here. I want you to label sphere. And then look at the picture. Do they give the radius or the diameter?
Radius.
They give the radius. So you can come right here next to it if you want to say r equals 6. I'm going to copy the formula. V is 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm going to plug in r on the paper. Oh, I wrote the caret. Hold on. I got excited. All right. So that's what we need to type in our calculator. 4/3 pi 6 cubed. You ready? 4 divide 3. To get the pi button, first of all, find it. You will notice it is also the caret button, but it's in blue. So you have to hit second pi. What was the radius? 6. 6 caret button to say raised to the 3rd power. Now remember, this is volume, so you're going to get big numbers. They're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get a decimal in pretty much every single question. We're going to round to the nearest tenth on every one of them. So 904.8. 904.8. Now, let me show you one more thing about volume. And now you're going to see why it was 904. Guys, this was a sphere with what size radius? 6. But what unit of measurement?
Yards.
Yards, not inches. 6 yardsticks. You see it now? So you got to imagine if I laid down 6 yardsticks, and then imagine like a sphere made out of that. That would be massive. And they were pouring liquid into it. So it makes sense we got 904.8. Here's what I want you to learn. Because this was volume, you just measured basically length, width, and height of this 3D shape. So over here, you don't write yards because this was not a linear measurement. And you don't write yards squared because this was not area, length, width, flat area. This was round 3D shape and I'm pouring liquid in. So it's yards cubed to show that it's volume. It's a 3D shape. And the way you read it is you would say it's 904 cubic yards of liquid. Is how you would read it.
Does it matter the mode on your calculator?
No. All right, so that's spheres. Now come over here to this. Come right here and write in big letters. Maybe. I have to be strategic because my board thinks I'm trying to shrink. All right, I want you to write prisms. Not prison, prism. All right, so prisms, when you hear that word, do you think of those rainbow prism crystals that kind of hang like as charms on lights, and the light reflects. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Those are called prisms, and it's because of the light. It's like reflecting inside the shape, and then it projects this rainbow. The prism's not actually rainbow. It's just the way the light is hitting. It creates the rainbow color. We have two types of prisms here. We have a circular prism, then we have a rectangular prism. The way that I'm getting these names is I'm looking at the shape of the base, what it's sitting on. You with me? The shape here is a circle, the shape there is a rectangle. The one that's not in this picture is a cube, which would be a shape of a, do you know? A square. As a cube would be the same formula as a rectangular prism, and it's just safer to go with rectangular prism. If it happens to be a cube, no big deal. You still do it the same way. Now, somewhere down the line in math, somebody said, hey, by the way, anytime we have a circular prism, we're going to change the name to a, what's this called? Cylinder. So you don't call it a circular prism. You actually call it a cylinder. Easiest way to recognize this in real life would be a Coke can, Sprite can, French pepper can, right? Can of food. Notice that the base it's sitting on is a circle. Notice the base opposite. I say base, but it's actually the top. Is also a circle, right? Okay, come over here to the rectangular prism. Notice the base is a rectangle. Look directly opposite. Notice it's the exact same rectangle. That's a prism. It's when you have a 3D solid where it's one base matches the other base, and then they're just connected by rectangles. Or in this case, like a cylinder, like if you were to cut this right here and then unfold it, it would be a rectangle that's just been curved, right? Okay. So, there is an overall, don't box this in, but there's an overall theme when you're finding the area of any prism, whether it's a cylinder or a rectangle or a cube. And the overall theme is capital B times H. What? Find you?
Yeah. Okay. If I'm not up there, just tell the front, I'll still get out.
Okay, thank you. We have an overall theme. It's capital B times H. There's a reason that this is a capital B. It doesn't mean it's a really mean woman. Sorry. It means area. Y'all were thinking it. It means area of the base. Oh, okay. It means area of the base. So the capital B stands for like a little formula of its own, and then multiply that by the height. So don't box that in, and here's why. Oh, look, my hair is too long. My hair is hitting the... Don't box that in, because now what we're going to do is write the individual formula, like, okay, what if the base is a circle? All right, well then the formula is the area of a circle, which is pi r squared, times the height. See how that's the capital B? The area of a circle is pi r squared. What if it's a rectangle? Oh, well, you should know this from middle school. Length times width times height. And that's because the area of a rectangle is length times width, and then because it's 3D, you've got to multiply it by the height. By the way, let's draw something on our rectangular prism that's helpful. To get the length and the width, always trace two sides that it's sitting on. trace the two sides. I'm trying to make it stand out, but I'm using the same color as the picture. And that's your length, that's an L. Your width, and then of course your height is what brings it up off the ground. And right here, capital B in the formulas above refers to the area of the base, but we already wrote it right there. Okay, let's dive in. Here we go. The first thing I want you to write is what shape it is. Then you don't have to copy the formula, but it might help. And then plug in the information. So what shape is number 1? We have 3 choices, by the way. You've got cylinder, rectangular prism, or sphere.
Oh, the second one.
Okay, so we're just going to write prism.
I can't write.
So volume equals length times width times height. Trace the base. Trace 2 sides of the base that it's sitting on, so you can find the length and the width. And then the height is going to be what's bringing it up off the ground. So imagine you got to visualize 3D here. Don't look at it as a flat shape. So we've got length, width, height. What do we get? 60?
Yeah.
And it was yards, so we do cubic yards. That's it. What happened to your arm? I just noticed.
I ate it playing basketball yesterday.
How can you punch a pit hole in the face? Come on.
I took it down.
I'll say something like that.
Hey, why would you say something like that?
Anthony, just do the best you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Just do the best you can. You don't have to show as much work since it's harder.
I can. I got it. It just
Okay.
doesn't look right.
That's okay. All right, go to number 2. What's the shape? It is a prism, and we would call it a cylinder. You can abbreviate cylinder if you want. I'm gonna write it out though, and then I'm gonna copy the formula. We got pi r squared times h. Did they give me r, or did they give me the diameter? They gave me r. The way you know that is by this picture right here. They've got this dotted line. So we've got pi 7 squared times 12. When you type that in, don't be afraid of big numbers. You're going to get really big numbers on some of these. Did you get 1,847.3? And this is kilometers cubed. I'm going to work one more and then I'm going to turn you loose. Number 4. We worked one of each type. Oh, because it's volume. Yeah, every time.
I thought you meant 2.
Oh, no. Number 4. What is the trick? Do you notice?
Oh, it's a sphere. Oh, no. It's a rectangle. A cylinder.
It's a cylinder, but what's the trick?
It's a diameter.
There you go. Yeah, you're on it. So if you've noticed, they've drawn the dotted line the whole way across, and then you notice they're pointing the arrow right to the very middle. That means that this is actually the diameter length, which means we need the radius, which would be 3. Always remember this, y'all. If you ever forget when to double, when to half. Listen, it's so stupid, but it works. Which word's bigger? Diameter or radius?
Diameter.
Okay, so diameter is the bigger number. So if they're giving me the diameter, then I need to half it to get the radius. And then now I can proceed. Cylinder is pi r squared times h. R is 3, and my height is now you may say, well, there is no height because it's not coming up off the ground. This one just got tilted over. The height is always the length between the bases that match. The two bases are circles. The length between them is 10. So that's the quote-unquote height. And then typing the whole thing in, 282.7. And it was kilometers. All right, at this point, you're going to go to the back, and you're going to finish the back. And then you can come get it checked off, easy 100. Tomorrow, we will learn the other two, which will be the same level of difficulty. It will be pyramids. We're going to learn cones and pyramids tomorrow. Another easy 100. And then those of you taking the final, you just need to be able to repeat these exact type questions for a test. And you're looking at maybe 10, 15 questions total. Okay.